Hi there, and welcome to another episode of Sinister Ideas. I am Danny Thompson, the left-handed writer, and let's call today's episode Sinister Ideas on the Metaverse. I read this morning where the guy who invented the iPod and several other technological innovations that we know and love today has come out railing against the idea of the metaverse, saying that it doesn't allow for true connection and that it's stealing resources away from the climate change crisis. And in a sense, those are both true. And in a sense, they're not, and or it doesn't matter. So here's my stance on that whole argument. The biggest problem with climate change is that it is a political issue, and politics has infused everything we do as a society today. So that only complicates it more and means that the truth doesn't matter, right? You know, for years, the big oil companies pushed the idea that the climate change isn't happening, and that even if it was a natural cycle. It was not anthropogenic, right? We're not causing this through carbon emissions. Now, even though documents have been leaked that, from the oil companies themselves, where they realize that this is happening and that we're causing it, they have done a 180 and have admitted that it is in fact happening and that we are in fact causing it. And now they are trying to push to the forefront of creating green technologies and reducing the carbon emissions from fossil fuels, because now there's money behind it, right? So but despite that 180 that they've done, the political capital wrapped up in the idea that global warming or climate change is a myth, and that that we are causing it as people, that we're destroying the things that we need on this planet. There's so much political capital rolled up in that argument that the fact that the oil companies come out and said, yes, it's real, yes, we did this, yes, we need to do something about it. The people who are locked into this, a particular parties or a particular side of the political spectrum are refusing to believe it even then. So, in a sense, there's going to be a push against putting resources behind climate change at a very political level. And so politicians are not going to want to go against the monster they've created. And so they're going to fight against it no matter what. And because of that, there's going to be less government money put behind that. And so it's a struggle to find a way to create a way that is profitable or even sustainable for people in the private sector to develop these solutions. It's there, it's real, it should happen, yes. But, right now we're in the middle of a hiring crisis, and so there are more open jobs than there are people to fill them. And so if you don't have the money to pay people premium wages, you're not going to get premium people. So it's an issue. It deserves attention. It needs to be solved. And so you do have people like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos who see the problem and have their own personal fortunes and corporate fortunes that they can put behind these technologies. And they seem to be. But it's still going to be limited. Now, for the second argument about the metaverse, the interpersonal connections that you can make online are real. Now, they don't come with all of the biological influences. There's some things that you can only get through direct human contact, and you can't get it through virtual human contact at this point. So in a sense, yes, that's true. But there are facets of that relationship that can be just as real as somebody you're standing next to, or sitting across the table from, or whatever. I've got lots of friends who I have never met in person, that I've met through games and other online forums. And to say those connections aren't real is to belittle the significance behind those relationships. Now, the real point of this is that none of this matters. Why do I say none of it matters? Well, because the metaverse is already here, right? You're not betting for or against something that's going to happen in the future. The metaverse is here now. People who worked from home during the pandemic or are in hybrid work situations right now are exploring aspects of the metaverse, right? Fortnite successfully brought things from outside, from the physical world into their digital realm, in a very successful way, by doing concerts that they've done and introducing characters from movies that people love. And there's several other ways that they've created, separate from the actual game where you're running around shooting people in the face. There's a whole separate world that you can just go and hang out with other people, and they can be people from across the world or across the country, and you can play games with them and you can chat with them, and it's a pretty unique space. On the other side of the spectrum, you had Pokemon Go, which took the characters of the Pokemon game, the video game, and through augmented reality, put them out into the real world in a very successful way. So what we have is, we have pieces of the metaverse that exist today. They're just not fully assembled and stitched together in a way that makes it a cohesive whole. What you find when you get into these various aspects of the metaverse as they exist today is that you are, how do you phrase it? You're reducing the friction between human connection, right? You're making it easy for me to talk to someone else, because even though it's not exactly the same as being there face to face, if you're on Party Island in Fortnite, you're standing across from someone and you can see their avatar and they can see your avatar. So, in your mind, it's a step removed from that one person talking to another person or interacting with another person. And by the behaviors and the fact that you can talk to each other, this isn't just another character in the game, right? This is another actual person, right? Another person is controlling this body in front of you. And where this is really going to take off is when the screen is no longer the gateway into this world, into these interactions, right? When your interaction with this other person in this other realm, or this other person in the world where you are, doesn't take place through a computer monitor or a phone screen, but is projected onto the lens of a pair of glasses you're wearing, or on a contact lens, or even through, if Elon Musk is successful, his chip implants. When you no longer have to have a screen as that defines the edges of this world from reality, then that friction is going to get reduced even more. when I can be at the park with my family during the day, and then I have a 10 o'clock meeting with people from work, and all I have to do is step to the side, turn my head, and a window opens in my field of vision, and all of a sudden they're either the actual faces of the actual people that I work with, or their avatars, and they're in this virtual boardroom. Then I can be in that room and at the park with my family at the same time, right? And so instead of having to get in the car and drive to the office, or go to another room where I can close the door and, disconnect myself from what my family is doing, and I can have this meeting with these people face to face, just steps away from where my family is, right? I can still see them, right? Because chances are this window is going to open up, and it's still probably going to be fairly transparent, right? It's going to have a certain amount of transparency to it. It probably won't be 100% opaque. And even if it was completely opaque, it would not be taking up my entire field of vision unless I decided to make it do that. So I can still see my family, know my kids are safe and that they're having a good time. While at the same time, I can be in this meeting with these people talking about whatever we're doing at work, whatever this project is, right? So instead of having to sequester myself away, I just step to the side, turn my head, jump into my meeting. We have the meeting, it's over, the window closes, and I'm right back in the park with my family. That removing the friction between making the jump between my time with my family and my time devoted to work will be what makes this technology, one, ubiquitous, right? It's going to be everywhere. It's going to be a part of everything. And two, impossible to stop, right? The fact that we will be living and working in the metaverse, both as a virtual reality using VR headsets and as augmented reality projected onto the actual world around us, is a foregone conclusion. It is going to happen. And there are going to be problems with it. And it's going to also bring a bunch of benefits with it as well, just like any other technology, right? It's not whether it's good or bad. It's how are we going to use it that makes a positive difference in the world. Now, what you may find is the metaverse allows people in all these different places, these pockets where they are working on the green technology to help with the climate crisis, allows for collaboration and innovation on a scale we've never seen before. So the metaverse may be what we need to bring the best minds together to work on this problem in a place where the political capital is so stacked against it. So that's my 2 cents. I don't know if you agree with me or not, but I would love to hear your thoughts on it. I think the easiest way to connect would be to reach out to me on Instagram. It is @lefthandedwriter. Let's talk about it there. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for listening.